Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome to the a special Sunday episode of Omnibros Live. This is way back, if you guys remember, this is like the Coffee with the Omnibros show on Sunday. Everybody, my name is Gabe. Gabe loves 90s comics here on Omnibros Live, along with my fellow compatriots. We do got my boy Lu, Comics Guide 101. Say what's up to everybody.
What's up, brother? It's a beautiful Sunday over here in Miami. We're kind of just relaxing. We may or may not get hit with a storm in a few days, so it's kind of just chilling here.
Are you getting the same storm that Geo got? Is it coming up your way or?
I'm not exactly sure what the name of the storm was that you got. We're just getting hit with a storm. But the thing is, if you've lived in Florida long enough, unless it's like a category 3 of anything, you're just like, okay.
Yeah, that's like coming from California. We're like, oh, the earthquake was only a 4. Whatever, you know. Yeah. Wake me up when it's a 7. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's when it starts getting into like, oh, this is a 4. I'm starting to get nervous. And what they're saying, if it hits us directly, it will hit us. It'll be probably like a low 2 at best, so it won't be that bad. On the bright side is I won't have to go to work, so I'm good with that.
Speaking of the bright side, everybody, Omnibroslive, if you did not know, is sponsored by our wonderful, amazing sponsor, In Stock Trades. That's right, everybody. I haven't done this spot in a while. InStockTrades.com, long time sponsor here at Omnibroslive for at least 5 years. Best website where you can go get all your collected edition purchasing needs, omnibuses, trade paperbacks, hardcovers, Marvel Epic collections, anything and everything collected edition related, manga as well, up to 50% off. That's right, up to 50% off on all your awesome trade paperback and omnibus requirements and needs. Each and every week, we do a episode that will talk about the new releases coming out every week. So always check us out on Monday for that and get your purchases done at InStockTrades.com, where you in the United States can get free shipping on orders of $50 or more. Awesome packaging, the best packaging, great customer service. InStockTrades.com has been sponsoring the show for a very, very long time. It's like 5 years. And also, I think it's tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Dang it, tomorrow already is the In Stock Trades $50 gift card giveaway right here on Omnibros Live on tomorrow's show. That is at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So we give it away live on the show. So you do need to be here and hang out on the show to enter the contest and win that $50 gift card. Also, I think I got everything. Is it the whole spot for IST? It's been a minute since I've done it. But visit In Stock Trade for all your awesome needs. And then also, everybody, anybody here who's an audio podcast listener, Omnibros Live, we are also on all your favorite podcast platforms and aggregators. We're talking about Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, anywhere. If it's on your phone and you want to listen to podcasts on it, you could find us there. So subscribe there if you're a fan of audio podcasts. It's the same version of this, but if you're more of an audio podcast person, that's going to be your spot to check us out when you're at the gym, on your commute, hanging out at work, all that kind of fun stuff for our show. So everybody also check us out there on all your favorite podcast platforms. Word. Man, it's been a minute since we've done a Sunday show. That's been off the schedule for a while. Yeah, it's been great.
It has. I know there have been a few fans that have been like, man, I wish you guys would go back to do Sundays because it just falls better on the schedule. But the reality is Sundays is kind of a little busy for me and for pretty much everybody else. And that's kind of why we shifted stuff to Wednesday for a while. But we didn't get to do a show Wednesday. So I figured, this Sunday won't be too bad.
Yeah, might as well. It's fun. It's a nice little fun Sunday show. Yeah. Probably not going to run, your typical Omnibro 3-hour show. But yeah, this is always a good time to just kind of hang out. Because it's going to be like a Q&A session, everybody. So if you got questions, throw that into the chat. topics you want to bring up, anything of the sorts like that. So we're going to really make this really fun and malleable, where we're just going to hang out, chat. It's coffee, right? We're just hanging out, having a coffee. Shoot us some questions, some topics, some news, and we're just going to get into it and just hang out for the day. It's going to be a fun time. So
I was thinking about this yesterday of what are some things that we have lost in the last few years, and I'm talking about generational things that you and I grew up with and stuff like that. And one of the things that first hit me really hard was we have lost the Saturday morning cartoons.
That's the worst. That's the worst. In my house, Saturday mornings is for cartoons. I still watch.
You still do it
on Saturday morning? Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's a really sad thing that we've lost. Because we don't have things anymore. Like we don't really need I have to be awake at 7:30 because that's when Gargoyles is on or whatever. You can watch that. You can watch TV anytime, any show, anytime you want. Right. Yeah. So there's no need of that. I got to sit here and get my cereal, and I'm gonna be just planted on this couch. Or for me, I was planted on the floor in front of the TV with my cereal, just because the next 4 or 5 hours is all the best cartoons, and I'm gonna sit there and just watch cartoons for the rest of the morning. Yep.
Because it was
as long as it wasn't a cleaning Saturday morning where I had to get up and clean.
That's true. That's another thing. If you grew up in a Latino household, the minute you heard Spanish music playing in the background, you're fucked. Your Saturday is done.
Oh yeah, you would wake up and smell the cleaning products. You're like, oh god, all right, I'm not gonna be able to watch Batman today. I'm gonna miss out on X-Men. This is gonna suck.
And it was the worst.
Back then, you couldn't just be like, oh, I'll just watch it again later.
Right.
There'd be reruns, but you have to wait till summertime, or something like that to catch up on any episodes that you missed if it got rerun. A lot of times you watch something, you never see it again.
You go to school and all your friends are talking about it and you're like, shut up. Shut up.
You're like, oh man, really? Cable showed up? Deadpool was in this one? What? Yeah.
So it's
or maybe you had a friend that recorded it and you'd be like, oh dude, let me borrow your tape if you recorded it. I usually record all the X-Men. I used to have a household of just VHSs of all my old cartoons and stuff I would watch. I was the only one in the house that knew how to program the VCR.
For me,
so I used to be able to set things ahead of time. Like, oh, okay, 8 p.m. we got to watch, I don't know, Malcolm in the Middle or whatever, right? And I was the only one that knew how to record it.
Yeah, for me, it was Pokemon, because I was the Pokemon generation. I was the generation that was just at that age where it hit, and we were obsessed with the card games. We were obsessed with watching the anime and stuff like that, and the video games and stuff like that. So the big thing was Saturday mornings, wake up, get the bowl of cereal out. Your parents are probably still asleep. You sneak into the living room, try not to make any noise, and you'd plop down and you start watching cartoons. And you wouldn't stop till about 12 o'clock when the 700 Club came on. And you're like, what the fuck is the 700 Club?
That was the creepiest show, dude. I was like, what is the 700 Club? Yeah.
To this day, I still don't know what the hell the 700 Club. It's a religious thing, isn't it?
Right. It was another one of those televangelist kind of things. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If I remember right. I mean, I barely. That's when you knew. All right, it's time to. I'll join in and start cleaning now. Because I already watched Mortal Kombat for the day or something. True graphic novel fan mentions there were so many animated TV shows to watch in the 90s. Dude, it was nonstop stuff. And then he also mentioned that there's a lot of superhero stuff too. That's the prime era for me for cartoons, because in the 80s, a lot of great stuff in the 80s. Okay. Transformers and all that, and Thundercats, G.I. Joe, all those classic iconic cartoons. But those were all just half-hour commercials.
Yes.
Right. It was all about just trying to sell the toys and things of the sorts like that. Where I felt like in the 90s is when you started getting actual storytelling and actual development of characters and pathos and things of the sorts like that. That's when it happened back in the 90s for me, where it was like, okay, yeah, sure, it's Batman. I can go buy a Batman toy that I really want because it's on the show. But at the same time, it's actually a really good story, and I'm getting character development, like the Mr. Freeze episodes and the Harley Quinn stuff and things like that.
Yeah, it's great. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Freeze didn't really have necessarily an origin until the animated series, right? That was where
I believe so. At least the origin story of him losing his wife or having his wife in stasis or whatever.
Okay, I thought
I
so.
think that came from the show itself. I might be wrong, but I don't think that was in the cartoon at all, or in the comics at all at the time. I think he was just an ice villain, generic ice villain for Superman or for Batman at that point.
Did you ever read that one shot that Scott Snyder did for Mr. Freeze's origin?
Yeah. The one with the Jay Lee cover or something. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What'd you think of that? I actually liked it.
It was great. I mean, anything Scott Snyder did in that time frame with that early New 52 stuff is untouchable. Like almost everything he did was fantastic.
It was really good.
Yeah.
It was really, really good.
Kenny Crayley in the chat. Question, guys, what makes the character of Superman Clark Kent so special? For me, he's a friend, and that's what people need the most. A really good neighbor. He represents the best of all of us and inspires us. I think that's true as well. That, and also the fact of him being the most powerful character, the most powerful person on Earth, right? He's an alien. He comes to Earth. He's got all the superpowers, all the super strength, but he uses that to help, as opposed to being like a terror or trying to make it for his own gain, right? So the idea of that most people, if they had that kind of power, would use that to their own benefit, to gain more power or more control. Where for him, he's using that as more of a protection for us who are, the lesser beings and things of the sorts like that.
Yeah, I 100% agree with both of you. I think the thing that makes Superman fun is that at the end of the day, Superman is, for me, the best iterations of Superman are always more of the lighthearted iterations or the fun ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think Superman, by his very nature, is supposed to be a fun character. And I think when you start doing and going way too dark with it, you kind of lose a little bit of some of that mystique and some of that essence of the character, which is why I love All-Star Superman. I think All-Star Superman is the greatest Superman story ever told, because Grant Morrison understands I can tell a story where Superman is in danger or it's pretty dark. I mean, for the love of God, in the story, he's pretty much dying of cancer. And I could still make it lighthearted and still a very beautiful story and still a very touching and moving story. I think what the issue for me with the Snyderverse stuff is the best stuff with that is more of the lighthearted stuff. The time where he first learns how to fly is great. 90%. Henry Cavill is still, to me, a great Superman. He just hasn't been given the right material to work with. And that moment where he's taking off and you see he's actually having fun with it and he's enjoying it, like, this is a breath of fresh air in this movie, because you're taking yourself way too seriously and so dark in this that it's just not fun. I'm not really having too much fun with it, even though I do enjoy Man of Steel for what it is. Superman and Lois balances it out really well. That's a good Superman TV series.
Is it? I haven't watched it yet.
It is. No, it is. I've seen the first, my wife and I started it. We've watched the first 4 episodes, I think, and we've been enjoying it a lot because they balance it out really well. And they know how to strike a good tone. The first episode, he lifts up a car and he saves somebody. And then a kid comes up and says, "Oh my God, like, cool suit." And he goes, "Thanks, my mom made it for me." And he gives a smile and he flies off. I'm like, you guys get it. You guys understand the character. Okay.
Exactly. He's a super powerful character, but he's grounded.
Yeah.
He's a grounded character. And that's the best stuff. Or even going back, since you mentioned All-Star Superman, he can still do like dark stuff in terms of like stuff that's kind of depressing. Like there's that issue of the girl that wanted to jump off the building, and he sits there with her and kind of talks her down, and it's things like that. It's him having humanity, him being, it's the same thing. There's a very kind of correlational line, I think, between someone like him and Captain America, whereas somebody who they have all this power, but they're grounded and they're fairly normal, typical people as well, who just happens to have these superpowers that he keeps in a reserve, and he keeps kind of close to the vest until he's needed, until it's like, oh, here's this big super villain vet or threat, and then it becomes bang pow cosmic blow up, fights and stuff like that. But the grounded stuff is some of the best stuff, and that's why, and the humor and the things like that. That's why still to today, I think the best Superman we've ever gotten is that Timverse, like Justice League of America stuff.
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, or even that original cartoon as well. Just the plain Superman cartoon itself. That's some of the best Superman we've ever gotten. outside of the comics, but it's a great representation. Yeah, he's super powerful and he's leader of the Justice League and all that stuff. But, still he hangs out with Jimmy, and him and Jimmy have coffee and hang out and eat, and he dates Lois, and at the same time he battles Darkseid, things of that sort. So
yeah, there is a reason why movie wise I still think, well, the Brandon Routh one wasn't bad. I think it was okay.
I think it was fine up until the moment that he had a kid, and I was like,
yeah. Which, I mean,
that always ruins these types of characters for me, is when they start getting married and having kids, and then it just turns into like, all right, well, now I got to worry about my my property tax.
Well, I mean, Superman and Lois deals with a lot of that stuff, but I think they balance it out pretty well. He has 2 kids in this, and most recently in the last, what would you say, 10 years, Superman has a son now.
Yeah. And that's great though, because in the movie it was like nothing wrong about being like a bastard child or anything like that, but it's just the fact that they just kind of just sprung it on out of nowhere, right? As opposed to being like, oh hey, him and Lois, they're a family and they were brought to, that's the aspect right there. I just spit it out. It's because it's a family, whereas opposed to in the Brandon Routh movie, it was just like, oh hey, Lois has this kid. Oh, that's interesting. Then the third act of the movie, you're like, oh, it's Superman's kid. You're like, oh, well, that's kind of weird, But for Jonathan Kent is the best addition they've done to Superman. They always try to change Superman up, give him new wacky powers like solar flare or things of the sorts like that. But him having a son and that interaction you had with young Jonathan and Super Sons, the best thing we've ever gotten, and the worst thing that ever happened is when they aged him up and took that away from us.
I agree.
They should have kept Jonathan Kent as a 10-year-old kid forever.
There was still so much they could do with that, and I've read a little bit of the Tom Taylor stuff, and the Tom Taylor stuff is, as you would expect, it's great because it's Tom Taylor. But for me, that Super Sons storyline is a modern day classic, and it's so much fucking fun. Just him and Damian, and seeing that banter between the two and how their personalities bicker between the two. I kind of feel like them aging him up, we lost a lot of potential stories with that.
It not to get on the negative side of things, but it changed the trajectory. Yeah, it changed the trajectory. I think we had the idea of Damian and Jonathan having their own relationship and, as friends, and their own bickering and their own back and forth, and more storylines that could have came out of that. And then you took Jonathan out of it, aged him up, and I think that affected Damian. I think that weakened Damian's character without Jonathan. I think it weakened his character and took away a lot of things that they could have done with him, as opposed to him now, like, as just being like a murderer, assassin guild trained kid, which I get, but that's kind of his only niche now. It's not him growing and learning through Jonathan, which is what was great about Super Sons, is that he was learning how to be like a better person through Jonathan. Yeah, we lost all that, and that's too bad. My headcanon never happened. It's always Super Sons.
Do you remember? Do you remember when they first introduced Damian? He was a little shit from the very beginning. Yeah. He kicked him. Was it Tim Drake's ass? Right in the first issue they introduced him. Yeah, they got into a fight. I don't know if it was the first issue, but there was they battled a lot. Yeah. Damian just shows up on Bruce Wayne's doorstep, and he's like, "Yeah, my mom's Talia al Ghul. You're my dad." And I'm here. Well,
it was the thing of where again Grant Morrison introduces his character, right? And nobody knew what to do with him. They even killed him. They even killed him at one point. Spoilers. But it was the idea that what I liked about it and what I always saw was that he always needed some kind of an anchor to be a grounded character, because he was a trained assassin. He was just a murderer machine. Born, bred, grown up, raised as a killer. But then he came into the DC universe when he was introduced, and then he was that killer character. But then he got hooked up with Dick Grayson as Batman. Yeah. And he was learning stuff through him. He was becoming a better character, a better person through Dick. And then New 52, he got hooked up with his dad. Him and Bruce started developing a father-son relationship, and he was learning stuff through his dad, being a better character through his dad and a better person through his dad. Then the same thing with Damien or with Jonathan. And then they took that away. But he's the character that like nobody knows what to do with him. And he needs that anchor to kind of be like, all right, well, you're going overboard, or, we don't do that, Damien, or, just because you're a trained assassin doesn't mean that you need to kill this person immediately. And that kind of thing.
And that to me was the highlight of Grant Morrison's run. And I could have got 20, 30 more issues of that. That Batman and Robin run, where it was Damien and it was not Tim Drake. It was Dick Grayson under the cowl. Yeah. I could have gotten 20 issues of that with what was it? Not Jerome Opeña. I'm blanking on the artist.
It was Frank Quietly, Chris Burnham.
Yeah. The artists on that were great. And the thing is, it only lasted like 10 fucking issues. Oh, God, I was so pissed when they killed him. And then they ended the series after about 10 issues. I'm like, you got to be kidding. This was so good. Why didn't you keep this dynamic? I honestly would have loved for them to continue doing Dick Grayson under the cowl. Why did they not keep going with that? We've gotten so many fucking years of Bruce under the cowl. And then you got so many great stories out of that. You got Scott Snyder writing Black Mirror, which was, to me, the still best thing that he's written in comics.
That's better than Court of Owls.
Yes, 100%. 100%. The Black Mirror is still the best thing he's ever written. And the final fucking page of Black Mirror is haunting. It is chilling how that story ends, because you don't know. With
the baby in the carriage thing?
You don't know how this is going to play out. Because technically, the bad guy won in that story.
Yep. And that was the first time that we ever seen the return of James Gordon again. And he ended up being like this crazy psychopath. Yeah. Those like last couple of years of DC right before the New 52 reboot was some of the best stuff I liked as well. That and then going into New 52.
We
that Flash stuff right before that, the Green Lantern stuff right before that.
Great stuff. Red Robin, Red
God.
Robin miniseries that is now ridiculously out of print. It's hard to get a hold of, but it's gold, guys. It is such a great little series.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't know about it, we should read it and talk about it. I would love to do more like shows where we're like, okay, let's read the story and let's talk about it kind of thing, right? But that's a great one. The book is hard to find. They're out of print. I have the single issues. I think all of them except for maybe like the last 2 issues. But it is, for those of you who don't know, it's Batman's dead at this point. Okay, this is the whole thing when he's going through time and all that stuff right after Final Crisis and hoopla and craziness, right? But it's everybody's accept that he's dead because they saw the body and they saw what happened with Darkseid, and Superman, carries out this, corpse of a body and stuff like that, right? But Tim Drake, this whole time's like, he's not dead. Yep. He's not dead. There's something not right. There's something fishy. There's something in the air. This does not set right. And he starts finding these little clues. So he takes on this different persona called Red Robin. And it's him traveling the world going, I'm going to find Batman. He's still alive. Bruce is still alive. I'm going to find him. And he's like, it's him as like this globe-trotting investigation that he's doing. And it's great. Nobody talks about it. It's a forgotten series. It's that, the Stephanie Brown Batgirl stuff at that time too.
Dude, Superboy by Jeff Lemire. That was only about.
Oh my God, that was such a good series. Yeah,
he was fantastic, but we lost it because of New 52.
Yep. We lost a lot of good stuff for New 52. Well, that Jeff Lemire Superboy stuff, damn it. I totally forgot about that till right now, how good that stuff was. God.
Well, he's dealing with the existential crisis of who he is because he's like, I'm a clone.
Well, it's the whole thing of him dealing with being part Lex and stuff too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Damn, I forgot about that series. I'm going to look that up. It's worth reading. Red Robin. All right, we're going to do recommendations real quick. This is a recommendation show real fast. Even if you got like, who cares? Go on like readcomics.com or whatever and just read these books. Do it digitally. I don't know if they're available on like the DC app or whatever. By any means possible. Yeah. Check out Red Robin. Check out that Jeff Lemire Superboy series.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Nobody ever talks about it. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, this is my precious little book that nobody knows about. I'm just gonna put it away. Yeah. Man, good stuff.
It's a shame. It's a damn shame. You know, we look, and there's always these little hidden gems that unless you know, you're gonna miss out, which is a shame.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's not doesn't count anymore, or however you want to count it or whatever, but it's still there. You can still read it, and you can still have it for yourself and read it and have that experience. God, I think that Red Robin series was written by, was it Fabian Nicieza? I think for a while he wrote that series. It was so good.
Let me see. Fabian, yep, nailed it.
Yeah.
Guys, it's on, you can read it on Comixology Unlimited. I think most of it is up there now.
Okay.
It's actually a pretty lengthy series. He's got
it's like 20, 25 issues, something like that,
yeah,
maybe.
It's about 25 issues.
Okay. And what about that Superboy? Look at that. You know what? Just look this up, man. We're gonna fucking bring this shit up here. We're gonna do some screen sharing. Any more questions in the chat? That was a great one, Kenny. That really brought us into like we kind of fell down a hole there real quick.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I think the thing is, Damien is always strongest when you pair him with somebody else, where he could play off of that other person. That's the thing we've noticed so far with the character. I don't think we've had a few people try to write him by himself for the most part, and it doesn't quite hit. I know some people say that the newest series is okay. I read the first 2 issues and I was like, not for me too much.
Oh, you mean for Damien?
Yeah, talking about Damien.
Yeah, I don't like Damien either. Just because I don't think he's a good character. Like, I get it that he's Batman's son, but I just don't think anybody's doing the right thing with him yet. They always go back to him being a piece of shit, which is unfortunate.
And an assassin.
Yeah,
he's
and that's old.
An assassin.
Yeah, there's no growth, and that's why I missed the whole Super Son stuff or him being teamed up with Dick. He needs to be teamed up with somebody. Again, he needs to just be anchored and learn to grow and stuff like that, because he's basically just a villain then, really,
Mm-hmm. You could change the character for the better, but I think you could also kind of change him for the worse. Remember what they did with Red Hood? They took away his guns. Red Hood isn't lethal anymore, so I'm like, he's Batman. He's just Batman with the red hood with the red mask now.
So here's the Red Robin series here. God, this is such a good series.
Dude, I would kill for Garth Ennis to write a Red Hood series. You don't even need to make it in continuity. Make it a Black Label book.
They really should bring it back, because the thing with this series is it's grounded and rooted, and it only exists because of that's a Batman, trope, right? And once that was over, this series was over. But it could have done so much more with it. There was a lot of potential for this character.
They rushed Bruce back. Bruce was like dead, and then 2 months later, oh yeah, Bruce is lost in time, and we're gonna get him. We're gonna bring him back somehow.
Yeah, I forgot how good this series was, dude.
Are we doing a reread of this? You want to do one?
I would like to. Yeah.
I think it's on DC, on the DC app. I'm pretty sure I can pull it up.
Well, it's available other means as well. Again, by any means necessary, read this book. It's so underappreciated.
Give me a second. I'm going to see if it's on the DC app. I'm willing to bet that it is. And just so you know how old it is, there's Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern advertisement on the
top. When they were promoting it, hoping that was going to be like the savior or the start of a new comic book thing. Yeah. Oh, look, even this one when he teams up with Ra's al Ghul. And this is like one of the first times I think that I remember. God, what's the artist's name here? Francis Manifold. Was doing all the covers. Is this a Alex Ross? Yeah, that was such a great series, dude.
It's up there. The whole thing's on here.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure the whole thing is on here. Yeah.
What's the name of the DC app again?
DC Infinite. Oh yeah.
What is it? Oh, DC Infinite.
Yeah, I'm adding this to the list tonight. I'm starting this again tonight. I'm gonna sit down with that.
Oh, man, yeah, and then is that Superboy on there too? Check that out too, because I don't have the app, so I'm not looking.
Man, when the DC Infinite app first started, I was like, this thing is garbage. garbage. It's not that great. You're missing.
It was weak at first, you know, because they didn't have anything up there. They just had like the classics.
But now they've gotten it so much better, where there's a lot of great stuff.
That's one of those things where it was just like it just took time to. Oh, I gotta sign up if I can even search. Oh my god.
Yep, his Superboy is here.
Oh my god, that's such a good series.
Yeah, all the issues are here. It only lasted 11 issues. God damn it.
Was it only 11 issues?
It was only 11 issues, unfortunately.
Is the book out of print? Ah man, there's one on Amazon, but it's like $40, and it's probably from some dirtbag.
It's from Jay Bragg.
This also real quick, just this original first volume of Superboy from the New 52 was awesome as well. Where he was just like a cyborg.
Whoa, that $20.99 omnibus. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Is it really $125?
Cool. Well, that's cover price, yeah. Oh, dude, that's the standard price these days for Omnis, I think, for the most part.
Really?
I think so. Because speaking of Batman and Robin, that new printing of Batman and Robin that just came out, I think like last week or the week before, was like $150.
What the fuck?
So I think $125 is about the current rate. Oh wait, actually, I'm sorry. This is $150. That $125 is a discount on Amazon. So the normal cover price is $150.
Damn.
So Omnis are getting up into that point of things.
Damn. Hey, we missed you talking about the con. How'd it go last week? We didn't get a chance for you to talk about it.
Oh, dude. Yeah, the con was a great time, man. I had a great time walking around. It's a local show here for me. So it's like I know everybody knows me. I get to really run into people a lot. I ran into Lionheart, an Omnibro in the chat. I think he's in the chat now. We hung out for a while. We toured the floor. He stayed with me and we were like hopping around booths. He got to see me haggle some comic books. You know, I bought that Daredevil #7. He got to see me haggle some prices and stuff like that. So it's a great show, man. I like it. It's all the people I know, because I'm really deep rooted into the comic book community here because of all the stores I've worked at and things of the sort. Right. So I really get to run into a lot of old friends and things like that. So it's a great show, man. It's a lot smaller than usual. Usually Amazing Las Vegas is a larger show. It's smaller this time around. I'm guessing maybe they were just trying to test it out, you know, because it's the first show that we've had back since the pandemic shut everything down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to go full blown. Hey, here's everybody.
Yeah, I don't think they just wanted to overstep it. And plus, it was a really busy weekend that weekend. It was, God, there was like the Canelo fight was that weekend here in Vegas. There was some kind of concert. There was a Raider game that weekend. It was a packed weekend.
Oh damn!
So maybe that had maybe that influenced it or something like that. But it was great. Like Peter David was there. Roy Thomas, James Tynion the Fourth was there. They had we got this Spider-Man 2099 book up. Rick Leonardi was there, and Peter David. You know, they're both involved with Spider-Man 2099. So they had some fun guests, but it was really it was small.
Yeah.
Jim Chung was there. That was awesome. I hung out with Jim Chung for a while. He did that awesome Doctor Doom sketch for me.
That was great. I love that Doctor Doom sketch. You sent us a photo of Peter David, and I saw him, and I was like, "Oh no, we've lost too many this year. Please no." But
yeah, he's getting a little out of. He's not looking the best, you know. Yeah. But he was like I went to a panel he was at, and he's sharp as a tack. Like he is still super sharp. He was up there just talking, you know, all kinds of great, because it was a panel about these popular storylines in the MCU, and it was the creators that those storylines came from. So they had Roy Thomas, who invented, you know, the Vision, Peter David, who did, you know, Smart Hulk or Merged Hulk. Rick Hobart was on there, and he was the one that did the original What If issue of What If Jane Foster became Thor. So if they were up there talking about like, oh, you know, how interesting it was to see their characters come to life on the screen and who else they would like to see happen on there. And he was up there just really sharp at the tack, dude. He was great. He was talking about how great John Carter of Mars, that movie John Carter of Mars was, even though nobody went to go see it. Because apparently people thought it was a Star Wars ripoff, which is silly considering that John Carter predates even Superman. You know, he's been around since the turn of the century. So,
yeah.
Yeah, but it was great though.
Yeah, it's always funny when people don't do their homework, and it's like, no, you guys don't know anything about literature. John Carter has been around for years, and Lucas was what he was, but Lucas stole, because that's flat out what he did. A lot of shit to make Star Wars, which is fine. All the directors do it. All directors do it, but you know,
art influences art. Yeah,
absolutely. You read stuff like Dune, you read stuff like the John Carter books, and you're like, oh, you motherfucker, you stole all of this from Dune, from John Carter, from fucking samurai movies, from Kurosawa stuff.
Lucas wanted to do a Flash Gordon movie, and he couldn't for whatever reason, so that's where kind of Star Wars spun out of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, dude, Darth Vader is 1000% Doctor Doom in space.
So
speaking of Darth Vader, James Earl Jones is retired from doing the voice of Darth Vader. She said, that's it, I'm done. He signed over the rights, his voice rights, to I guess Lucas, and then whatever that software is, I guess, or whatever, where you can kind of deep fake the voice and just put things together. So they can always use his voice as Darth Vader forever. But he just won't be recording any new lines.
So he's done. But the fact is that there's so much of his voice out there. They're like, okay, yeah, we're good. We can figure something out.
Yeah.
You know, especially nowadays where you have the software and everything. Fuck, in Rogue One, you had General Tarkin, who the actor's been dead for years. They brought him back. So they can do it. It's getting creepy. It's getting a little bit weird, I think. You know?
There's going to be no need for actors at one point. It's all just could be just easily done digitally. Or even like Bruce Willis. He's not acting anymore, but I think he signed away some of his rights so they could use his face for other productions and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit weird as far as where tech is going and stuff like that, where you're getting all these deep fakes and things, and you're de-aging actors, and it's getting better and better every friggin' time we see it nowadays. So it's weird.
It's hard to tell you can't really skirt the line anymore. Like, because before you can watch something and be like, oh, that's CGI, that's CGI, that's CGI. Yeah. Nowadays you're like, I know that's CGI because it's the dragons don't exist, but damn, is that realistic?
It's getting good, dude. And you see, so I still have not come back to Rings of Power. It's just not. It didn't do it for me the first 2 episodes.
You don't like the uncle fucking?
Are you talking about Game of Thrones or Rings of Power?
Oh, wait, I was thinking Game of Thrones now. Damn it. I'm getting those things mixed up. They're very similar. Like,
I was about to say, wait, the Tolkien estate let them do that?
Okay, so you're talking about Lord of the Rings. Oh, so you didn't go back on that?
Nah, man. I tried watching the first 2 episodes and I kept falling asleep, and I'm just like, this might not be it for me. I like my fantasy. I love Tolkien. I respect what he brought with Lord of the Rings and how he is basically the father of fantasy novels. I respect it, but it's a bit. I like my fantasy with a bit more crunch to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it needs to have a bit more bite. And I think the problem with me is, and I'll fully admit this, there have been so many fucking great fantasy series and books and stuff like that this feels kind of playing it a little bit safe from what I saw, and it was just not doing it for me.
No, I understand. I don't disagree. I've been watching it. I'm enjoying it, but there's a lot of storylines going on. There's like 6 different storylines. Okay, so you have like Galadriel, you have the other that one elf that nobody likes because he's not white, right?
He's Puerto Rican, right? Isn't that what he is?
I'm not sure what the actor is. I'm not sure. Yeah,
I think he's Puerto Rican, and people were.
but he's like the baddest. He's like the baddest ass in that show. Like if you're
Mhm.
looking for action and adventure and stuff, you're getting it through that storyline. The Galandriel storyline is just been stifled. It's really nothing. Just the most recent episode, it finally picked back up. Like it's like, oh, they moved the needle a little bit in terms of like, okay, maybe next something's gonna go on. You know, it's been a lot of just talking, right?
Yeah.
Especially that Galandriel storyline. God, there's the other storyline with the kid who finds the sword. Like, there's a lot of storylines going on. The not Hobbit people, the Half-Foots or whatever they're called, Hardfoots.
Yeah.
That storyline, and it's a lot to kind of keep up. And then it's one of those things where there's multiple storylines. You're like, this is the storyline I'm interested in. You got to wait through like 3 or 4 of the storylines you don't really care about to get to the storyline that you're interested in.
Is it so? I think, and correct me if I'm wrong. From the sounds of it, it sounds like they bit off way more than they can chew. They've got way too much going on. Because the thing about Lord of the Rings is, its beauty is in its simplicity, where the story is ultimately good guy, bad guy. We have to take the ring up to this place, destroy it. We win. That's it. That's it. At its core. That's pretty much what it is. Along the way, you get different characters, you get fleshed out into this world and stuff like that, and that's awesome. But Lord of the Rings as itself is very simple.
It's a linear story, yeah.
Yes. And that's
the thing with this one. It's just there's so much going on. Eventually, they're all going to merge together, of course. But it's just like, when's it's going to start picking up? When are we going to start getting some answers? Especially, again, that Galadriel storyline is just like, is it really Sauron coming back? Oh my God, is the dark forces really just kind of waiting in the wings, getting stronger and stronger without us knowing? And it's just like, okay, you've been saying that for 4 episodes. Like, let's keep going. Let's keep going and see where this comes. But House of Dragons has been great. So Lord of the Rings, the other way, it's beautiful. Like it's expensive. Like you can see the money they put into it.
Oh yeah, it's the most expensive. It's the most expensive TV series ever made. Amazon sunk, I think it's like close to $1 billion into the whole fucking thing, and they are gambling hard on this. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know if it's necessarily going to pay off for them. I don't know if we're going to get another season of this based on just what I've seen online, where a lot of people. I mean, you get your stereotypical idiot racists and stuff like that. Oh, elves can't do this and stuff like that. Fictional characters, okay? There are dragons. There are talking trees.
There's orcs. Yeah.
I think we can let the fact that there's a black elf slide, guys, or a Hispanic elf. I think we'll be okay. So you get your typical those, but I think also it's just not. I think in general it's just not connecting with a general audience. Remember. So I'll use this as an example. Remember when Invincible hit, where everybody was watching Invincible going, what the fuck is this? Mm-hmm. It caught like wildfire.
Right.
And it was the same thing with The Boys, where The Boys caught like wildfire. I'm not seeing the same thing with this, where the general... You've got the Tolkien nerds who they will eat up anything because they absolutely love Tolkien and they want to see the interpretations of it. But I don't think this is catching with the general audience.
Yeah, I hear you, because... there's no hook yet.
Yeah.
Like with Invincible, there was a hook the first episode. You see that it's Omni-Man that kills everybody, right? The first, or was it the second episode? But they released it all together, whatever it was. So you got your first taste. You're like, oh, okay, now I'm hooked in. There's something that's kind of keeping me involved with the story. And there's not so much of that with Lord of the Rings yet. And again, it's already like 4 or 5 episodes in. And there's no quite hook other than just like, okay, well, let's keep seeing where this is going. Oh, more orcs. Oh, who's this guy that's like the leader of the orcs now? And there's just a lot of questions, no answers yet for me. And I want the answers, and I'm sticking around for it because I'm liking it. My wife and I are enjoying it together. But it just isn't like, oh, dude, did you see what happened? Like, it's this. Oh my God. Like, there's no like talking point to it yet.
Yeah. Which, guys, I don't know if they're going to, because they're shifting things around so much in Invincible. If we get the Viltrumite War in the second season,
if you guys haven't read Invincible yet, you're not ready for season 2 or season 3, especially season 3. I think
that's going to be 3 because you got to build up so much to the Viltrumite War. There's so much.
Well, yeah. Wait till Conquest shows up. Wait till I think her name is I think it's pronounced Anissa. When Anissa shows up, or Trog, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it.
It's
Nobody's ready for it. If you think the first season was like, oh wow, this is wild and crazy and violent,
Yeah.
no. if you think Omni-Man is a bad guy, just no. He's doing all of this for a legit good guy reason.
Yeah.
Okay, a legit good guy reason.
Yeah.
And it's because of these Viltrumites showing up. Because it's one of those things where if Omni-Man's not the one that destroys the world or enslaves the world, it's going to be the Viltrumites.
And it's way worse.
He's trying to prevent the Viltrumites from doing it because they are going to be the most brutal enslavers ever.
It is way worse when they eventually arrive and stuff like that. I remember reading how that war ended, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is not good." How this played out for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's trying to be the lesser of two evils. Oh, it's so good. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's reaction to like Conquest and if they do Anissa the way they do it in the comics, like the controversial stuff, forget about it. It's gonna break the internet in half.
Yeah, and it's really when we get to Conquest and we get to the Viltrumite War and stuff like that where we start losing some of our favorite characters, and the body count starts stacking up really high, really quick during that. It's a war, and that's one of the things that Kirkman has been accused of a lot of things in his writing. I think sometimes he kills off characters just for shock value, but once you start getting into the Viltrumite War, it hits heavy. And when he starts thinning the herd and starts killing off characters, they do not die in grandiose ways. They just flat out die in the battle.
Yeah, there's some bad stuff going on. I'm looking forward to that. They're doing the voice. They're recording the voices and everything, I guess, apparently. So sooner or later, we're going to get that second season.
Do you remember the one that with the skeleton? He or she, I should say, lights up his own skeleton. I don't want to give that away.
It's not ringing a bell.
It's a great moment. I can't wait to see it animated.
Because I haven't read all of Invincible. I stopped, I think, after the Viltrumite War.
Oh,
so I
wow.
don't know if that's after or what. Like, I think not that I stopped. Like, oh, this is gross or done. I just kind of fell off after like issue like 100 or something.
I think it peaks there. I think once you hit Viltrumite War, and then after that, it just peaks. And it's not like there's nothing good after that, but you just don't hit those same highs for me.
Yeah, same with the Walking Dead, where after the prison, it doesn't really reach that high water mark again for a while.
No, I think Kirkman went way too long with that series, to be honest with you. I honestly think he did. I tell this to everybody. Okay, the first 48 issues of The Walking Dead are brilliant. They're some of the best horror comics that you're going to get. You're going to love all these characters. You're going to hate certain characters. You're going to grow to love certain characters that you hate. And then after issue 48, it kind of takes a dive for a long time. And then you meet Negan. And Negan's a pretty cool character, and it gives it some juice in the story. But then after a while, you start seeing this is the same fucking story over and over again. You're just repeating the same beats.
James in the chat, how much longer do you think, or how much longer do you think Kirkman will bring back Invincible in a new series? How long do you think it'll be before he brings back Invincible? I think he's done with it. I don't know, maybe like a mini series or maybe a one shot at the most, but I don't know if he's going to bring back the series.
I don't think he will. I mean, Kirkman had always said Walking Dead will have an ending, but Invincible could be the series that he could just keep writing and writing and writing, and eventually he was just done with the series, which is fine. It happens. I think he's just gonna let it be for now. Honestly, I don't see why. Why bring it back? It has an ending.
He's never been a guy to have like spin-offs of a series either. Walking Dead has always been Walking Dead. It wasn't like it's not like with the TV show where it's like Fear of the Walking Dead and stuff like that, right? It's always been that singular series. And I don't think he's ever came back to a series. And not that I don't want him to. I would love more Invincible, but I agree. I think he might just be like, I've told my story and I'm good with it.
I think he has.
It's not like Marvel where it's like, oh hey, we have a movie coming out about the Eternals, so let's do this big massive crossover event with the Eternals.
Yeah. And then after the movie's out, never even acknowledge the Eternals exist anymore.
Yeah, or even like, oh hey, there's gonna be a World War Hulk movie, so let's do another World War Hulk comic, or let's do Civil War 2.
Ah, Civil War 2. What a train wreck that was. Jesus.
It did bring us drunk Riley reviews though.
Yes, it did, and that was still one of my favorite moments where Riley is taking shot after shot after shot, trying to explain to us Civil War 2 and what happened in that shitty book. God, that was terrible. Man, we usually don't talk bad about books on this show, because if we were to talk bad about every single book that I should clarify that. If we were to ever mention all the bad books we read on this show, it would be a mile long. It just would.
And plus, it would just end up being nothing but bad stuff to talk about.
Right.
And we don't want to be sitting here being all negative and pointing out all the bad stuff and jumping on negativity with more negativity.
Right. So we tend to focus more on the positive stuff that we read. Every once in a while, we'll throw in, because it happens, hey, this wasn't that good.
Yeah. Or people ask our opinion,
Mm-hmm.
We never really come out and go like, hey, this show is, or this movie, or this comic book is terrible. It's usually somebody goes, hey, what do you guys think about this? And then we'll bring it up real fast or something. You know?
We tend to stay pretty positive, and that's one of the things that I think a lot of people like about our show.
And that's why we talk about Jeff Lemire's Superboy or Red Robin.
Yes, we do. You haven't started any Black Hammer yet, right?
No, I haven't read Black Hammer. I was contemplating getting that trade paperback omnibus that came out a couple of weeks ago, but no, I haven't read any of that stuff yet.
You should. I think you dig it.
I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I want to, because it's one of those. Again, we don't really read. Well, you kind of do a little bit digitally, like single issues. So I don't know what good series are out there, and I don't want to just keep buying single issue after single issue after single issue after single issue to try and find books that I want, because I don't want to have to store all those single issues. So I've been just kind of waiting in the wings as a trade waiter to hear what people are enjoying, and then jump on it when it comes out in trade. Like when that Chip Zdarsky Batman series comes out in the hardcover, I'm there. I'm there because everybody keeps talking about it. Same with things like Firepower. I jumped on it because everybody was talking about how good it was. And I'm waiting for that. So, and that's the same thing with Black Hammer. I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I want to check it out.
Yeah. I think we
don't have the time to read garbage anymore. Is what I'm saying.
No, and there's so much good stuff out there. I'm a pretty voracious reader. I read a lot, a whole lot. I find it entertaining. I find it calming. Like right now, I just finished. I mentioned this on the show last week. I finished the second book, I should say, of Stormlight Archive. That was over 1,000 pages, and I knocked that out. And I'm already at the book here about 150 pages. I read 100 this morning from My Heart Is a Chainsaw. Really fun slasher book. And I'm reading right now Sean Murphy's White Knight stuff. So there is plenty.
Is that White Knight stuff collected? How's it collected, I should say? Is it all one like book, or are they all separate? Maybe people in the chat help me out. They're all separate.
I think it's pretty separate right now. They're split up into trades and stuff like that. It's White Knight, Curse of the White Knight, Harley Quinn, and if I'm missing anything, guys, correct me, because I just started reading.
There's that Batman Beyond one that just came out too.
The Batman Beyond one looks fucking badass.
Yeah.
And there's, I think, a Red Hood one, if I'm not mistaken, or there will be one. Sean Murphy's been posting a lot of the Batman Beyond stuff on his Instagram page, and it looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean Murphy's an awesome artist.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to pick up anything Tom Taylor. I've never read any Tom Taylor stuff. And all I've heard has been great stuff about everything, whether it's DC Deceased all the way up to God, what is he doing? Everybody's loving these days. Fudge, I forget, but it seems like anything with Tom Taylor's name on it's been glorious.
Yeah, he's kind of the go-to guy right now. We're it's always fascinating to see somebody's star rise and then fall just as quickly. And this is nothing against the man. From all I've heard, he's a very sweet man, but Donny Cates was the it guy about 2 years ago. And then for whatever reason, he got on that Hulk book, and I don't think I've ever seen somebody's star crash that fucking hard that fast. So it's wild, man. It's crazy.
You know,
and it's not
you
like
can't always hit homers. You know.
Yeah, it's not like he's not putting out good stuff because he is putting out good stuff. His Thor run, I've heard, is still solid.
Mm-hmm.
It's that Hulk book, whatever it is, it just went boom.
It might have been just too big of an idea, where it's Bruce Banner controlling Hulk as a mech or like a spaceship kind of thing or something, from my understanding.
It doesn't help that he just came off of a modern day that he's doing.
Oh god, that Immortal Hulk, yeah, forget it, dude. And that's the thing with the Hulk is that it's hard to do. There's a lot of Hulk out there, but very little of it is like essential, right? Yeah. I mean, like up until like Peter David, it's all just like Hulk versus the army for the most part, and monsters of the week and weird stuff like that too, But the character itself didn't really become like developed like significantly until Peter David.
Yeah.
Because I love Maestro. I think Maestro is one of the coolest like versions of a Hulk that we've ever gotten.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of
and there's all whatever, but it's always one of those things where like it's a dud, and then all of a sudden something unexpected happens, like some new nobody writer jumps on board, and then it blows up again. So you got stuff like the Peter David run, and then after that, it's kind of a whatever book until
Red Hulk stuff?
Bruce Jones. That Bruce Jones run where Banner's on the run.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, like Mark Waid did a run. It had an interesting concept, but I don't know if it really panned out that well. And then Immortal Hulk. What's this? Immortal Hulk. And then this is like, okay, it's going back to its kind of horror story, body horror like idea and stuff. And that was just a banger. Every issue was just like the book to read.
Ant-Man 40, Bill Manselov's Hulk is well regarded. How did you work at a comic shop when that Red Hulk stuff was coming out? I forget who's the
trying
writer.
To remember if I was working at one or not. I probably was.
Who was the writer on the Red Hulk? Oh my
god, Jeff Loeb.
Jeff Loeb, right. How'd you feel about the Jeff Loeb stuff?
I liked it. It's one of those things. So it's I was there for Ed McGuinness. McGuinness.
The art is gorgeous.
Yeah, Ed McGuinness's Hulk is untouchable. Like he draws some of the best Hulk, I think. No, it was good, but it was just it takes a while to kind of get the reveal and actually a footing on the character. All right. And it's just Hulk kicking everybody's butt and doing things Hulk shouldn't really be able to do. Carry Thor's hammer around and stuff like that. But it's great. I liked it a lot. But it was just after Ed McGuinness left the book, I think my enjoyment of that book probably dropped like 65%. Because then you kind of got on these artists who just the artwork wasn't doing it for me. Like Ian Churchill came in and he had his cartoony style, and it didn't work for me and things of the sorts like that. And then the idea of like, oh, okay, we all know who Red Hulk is. It's obvious. Wait, it's Thunderbolt Ross. It doesn't make sense. It's one of those kind of things too. The reveal was kind of just didn't hit right.
Yeah, but I remember that being huge. I remember when that was coming out. That was actually that Red Hulk reveal. Everybody was wondering, like, who the fuck is Red Hulk?
Yeah. Well, because everybody thought it was going to be Steve Tobert. Because the whole laser beam that caused it to happen, Steve Tobert was right there and got hit by it too or something during World War Hulk.
Mm-hmm. It did end up giving us that Red Hulk series by Jeff Parker, I think it was. Was it Parker?
Oh, that was great stuff. The Jeff Parker, Gabriel Hardman stuff. Yeah.
That was so much fun, dude.
Where it was Hulk getting like his butt kicked again, where it's like, okay, Iron Man came in and beat him up, and Thor came in and beat him back up, and all these characters getting these like revenges on him and stuff.
It was so much fun because he had been. So, for those of you, this is another underrated gem that you guys definitely should pick up. Is the Jeff Parker Red Hulk stuff that he did?
Yeah, it starts later in the series, like issue 40 or something like that. Yeah,
right. I don't think it even lasted that long. And the general premise is Red Hulk has been kind of depowered So they scale the power level down with him, and you've got a bunch of people that are like, "Oh, you motherfucker!" And they come after him, and they just want revenge. And it's him fighting all these people. I think the first issue is, or one of the first issues is, like you said, him versus Iron Man, and Iron Man whoops his ass throughout that book, and it's a fun book.
It's a good series, dude. Because if it's just like, okay, well, it's great because it was kind of getting stag for a while. You know, it was okay. You know, all right. I guess we're just kind of running through the hoops of things, and then Jeff Parker comes on. And, oh, okay. Now we got a new vision, a new idea, and it worked.
Yeah.
James Abel. Let's see. Batman White Knight has a oversized hardcover. Curse of the White Knight has an oversized hardcover that comes out this week. He thinks. All the other stuff is in trade paperbacks and floppies still. So they are like, I need to get that stuff because that first White Knight was so good. Was so good. Another interesting take on Joker, which is usually like, oh god, another twist on the Joker like trope. All right, I guess. But it was like, okay, this one really works and really makes Batman look like the bad guy. You know, when he's like stuffing all the medicine down his face.
Yeah. James Abel, what are the White Knight books? It's White Knight, Curse of the White Knight. Is it the Harley Quinn book? And are they doing Beyond now, or was there a Red Hood book? I vaguely remember something involving Red Hood before that. Because there's quite a few of them out there now. I love the fact that Sean Murphy's the DC is just like, yeah, go have your own universe, Sean.
Yeah,
have fun. Go do your thing.
And it works. And he's just like, and he's kicking total ass on it.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. It's great. The White Knight stuff has been fantastic, and I'm sick of the fucking Joker.
Yeah, definitely. How many times do we talk about, you know what, just put the Joker in retirement for a while? Like,
please.
That's when, yeah.
Please.
But then he does this twist where he makes, you know, Joker the good guy.
It's great.
Yeah.
There needs, please, DC, I am begging you. Somebody's at the door. Somebody dropped something off. I am begging you, DC. There needs to be a memorandum. No Joker stories for at least a year. Just give me a year. I don't need the Joker. You've got a huge fucking rogues gallery of villains.
Yeah.
Do something with them. Please.
Develop the other ones a bit more.
Yeah. Please. Just do something with them. Professor Pig. Give me something with fucking Professor Pig. Okay? Yeah. Psycho Pirate. I think that's his name, right? Psycho Pirate? Whatever.
Yep.
Give me something with him.
Yeah, give us more Bane. Give us another like interesting Riddler take. You know, something like that. You know, Batman has the best rogue gallery, and it's just the Joker being used a lot of the times. It feels like.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Update some of these characters. I mean, I don't know. If it's just not to be like that anti-corporate comic book kind of discussion, but it just feels like they're playing it safe, right? They don't want to change their characters. They don't want to evolve the characters anymore or something like that. Because once you do, it changes the idea of like, okay, is this going to be a sellable item more? You know, stuff of the sorts like that. James Abel, thanks for the reply back, brother. We have White Knight, Curse of the White Knight. White Knight presents Von Freeze. White Knight presents Harley Quinn. And White Knight presents Red Hood. And then currently, Batman Beyond White Knight is the ongoing series.
Okay, so I need to read that. I need to read that Red Hood series.
I didn't realize there was that much. I thought it was just like 3 series.
I need to read that Red Hood because I bet that's good. I bet he actually shoots his guns. Actually has his gun.
He's probably out there murking fools. Yeah.
Oh my! Was Sean Murphy? Yeah, he probably is actually.
It probably looks amazing. I'm sure he probably drives some badass motorcycle, knowing Sean Murphy, and he's such a gearhead.
He is. He's a motorcyclist. I think he has a tattoo of like a gear shift or something on his hand.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. Thanks again for that, James.
Well, it's only 2 issues. Boo.
2 issues and 2 issues. I mean,
I know.
Give it to me. Give it to me good. I don't care how long it is.
It's crazy to me in the last few years how much that Black Label imprint has improved.
Has it? I haven't touched anything of it.
It's gotten better.
Well, because God, 3 Jokers is just enough. I was just like, I'm done. I'm burnt out with that.
Yeah. I think it's gotten better.
I think that's the last time that, you know, because like we talked about, we don't really talk about bad stuff on here, but man, that was the last time that we went off on something that we just didn't like.
I think I was the only one where I held my ground and I was like, it's not great, but I don't think it's terrible. I think the art really is the saving grace of that book because that art is gorgeous. I mean, the writing is what it is, but the art is fantastic in that book.
Oh, yeah.
And the ending is...
Jason Fabok should have been a superstar because of that book. He stepped it up. He stepped it up.
That was him leveling up.
Yeah, it's like everybody gets like Clay Mann gets a lot of play now because of the stuff that he was doing. But it's like, dude, like, did everybody just forget about Jason Fabok? Off my shelves, I think it's worse than that. They are fine changing their characters, but then as soon as the change happens, they start changing things back any way they can. They do like permanent change. Bless them. So yeah, I agree.
In regards to what?
Like just the idea of like, you know, why they're not doing things different with the Rogues Gallery characters.
Yeah.
You know.
Fucking Clayface.
Yes.
Give me a
Clayface needs to be like a body horror storyline or something. Like
we've talked about this.
How's that not been done? That's so simple. It writes itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in today's day.
An aging actor who you know is trying to recapture his youth, you know, gets the clay or whatever, and he takes too much of it, gets addicted to it, and it becomes this weird body horror thing.
Dude, especially in today's day and age with social media and how everybody's striving to portray themselves as this perfect person, and like your skin is flawless and everything with all these filters and all this bullshit and stuff. I'm like, there is a story to be told there. I bet it would be really good with Clayface.
Yeah. Oh, off the shelf says they don't like permanent change. Yeah, no, definitely. That's okay. Well, and that's the thing. Like things like, you know, permanent change. They need to evolve. I mean, even like Kenny Crayley saying that on the next kind of chat here. Comic book characters have to evolve for newer readers and even the long running readers too. Yeah, we need something. And that's the thing too, Kenny, is a lot of people want the same thing over and over again. And they've been, for some reason, the corporate overlords have subscribed to that idea. That's the idea that they're fixated on. No, just give them what they want. Give them the same thing over again. Give them the same thing over again. No, give me something good. Give me a body horror Clayface. Give me a sympathetic Mr. Freeze, who's doing all this because his wife is sick and he has her frozen until he could find the cure. You know, things of the sorts like that, you know?
Yeah, but it's such a fine line because when you change something because we are, how am I going to say this? Okay. For all intents and purposes, we are very spoiled as a fandom because we've done so much good shit in the last 10, 15 years, mainly from the Marvel side and stuff like that. And we want what we want. And when they start changing things a bit too much, you get a lot of idiots online that start bitching and moaning because you're changing things too much. I mean, Jesus Christ, we saw how many people lost their shit over the fact that Namor is now from an Aztec origin, and they changed that up, which that looks fucking badass. Yep. I can't wait to see that on screen. So I don't even think fandoms mostly know what they want necessarily. And that's the difficult part, is because when you're creating this stuff, when you're writing, and when you're directing and making art, your job is to give the audience not necessarily what they want, but what they don't realize they want.
Yeah. I think it's also, you know, it's a vocal minority about these things, right?
Yeah.
People don't, it's like, I don't know, like, I don't call my cable company when everything is good. I call them when I'm upset about something, or something's not working right, or I need help, right? And that seems to be the thing with people who are, who have a problem with something. They just want to just throw it out there, and that's what they're listening to. It seems like negativity gets more attention than the positive stuff.
No, it does.
Yeah.
It totally does. That's how you got these.
And that's the stuff that makes things change, is this negativity stuff. Or, how come we just can't have this back the way it was? Or I liked it where it was like this before. And people, so they just get into that mindset, it feels like. It's not like, no, let's evolve this change, let's take chances.
Right. And people need to realize Marvel and DC aren't making movies. they're not specifically making movies, and they're making stuff to cater to the hardcore fans, because the hardcore fans are this small in the grand scheme of things. They really are. But the problem is that social media and stuff like that has trained us to think what I say is so important, and all these people around me agree with me, that I have to be right.
Right.
Not necessarily the case, man. Unfortunately, you know,
especially if you're like a clout chaser on social media, the negativity stuff gets you your attention.
There's going to be stuff they're going to change, and there's going to be stuff because they're trying to reach a broader audience. They just are. They are. You know, they had to change. So a great example of this is Sandman. They've been faithful to what the spirit of Sandman is, but they can't do the Sandman series from the books because Sandman is barely in the books.
Yeah.
So if you were to do the Sandman series from the books beat for beat, you would have a lot of people trying to watch the Netflix series going, where the fuck is the guy in all black and like with the mystical powers and stuff? Why am I watching this?
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, we talked about it before. You know, we'll see what happens. All right. So, all right, we're going to get ready to wind this down a little bit. It's been over an hour. So, anybody has any more questions in the chat, give us a holler. But anyway, so yeah, it's now I really want to read that Red Robin, that Superboy, dude. God damn it. I've been trying to read this Generation X Epic Collection, the second volume, and I'm just having a hard time getting through it. So I might need to just change up. So that might be a good change for me.
Brother, one of the best investments I made was this. Over the iPad, but like the newest version of the iPad, the oversized, fucking huge as hell, like 13-inch monstrosity.
Is that the Pro?
This is the top of the line one.
Okay.
And I cannot recommend this enough to read comics on and stuff. For me personally, because I'm digital now for the most part.
I just want to read good books. That's all I care about. I just want to read good books and good stories that I can just fall into and just get into.
I have the Marvel.
But there's just, honestly, dude, there's so much good stuff out there, and I'm trying to get the books, and it's just becoming too much. I just don't want to get overwhelmed with unread books again. You know, I need to finish the Immortal Hulks. I want to get into the Sonic books, but you know, again, it's just like, I'm trying to just read stuff, right? So
I've heard that's good stuff.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So let's go ahead and thank our sponsor one more time. This is brought to you all in part by InStockTrades.com. You can find all the best deals for your omnibus, trade paperbacks, hardcovers, mangas, anything collected editions. You want to check out InStockTrades.com. That's going to be the place for you to go each and every week for your new issue or your new releases. New releases now drop on Tuesdays at 9. I think it's 9 Pacific, 12 noon Eastern now. So they go out a little bit earlier. Free shipping in the United States for all orders over $50 or more. Awesome packaging. Incredible customer service from our great friends over at InStockTrades.com. Everybody check them out. Also, with that said, the podcast, again, the audio podcast, find us on all your favorite podcast platforms. Throw us a sub on there. I think I'm on that double check today. I think we're getting to the threshold where we can start monetizing that. So we get a little bit more going our way to keep the lights on with the show and everything.
And review us, please. So, every review helps.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? Give us 5-star reviews. If they pop up, I'll definitely, maybe you start reading them on the show or something like that. So that's always interesting and fun, and great support from everybody that's been listening and watching forever. We appreciate all you guys in the chat. Join us tomorrow, same Omnibros time, same Omnibros channel, 5 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. Tomorrow is the $50 in-stock trades giveaway. Our boy Kenny in the chat won last month. So it's anybody's game, but you have to be here watching to win that gift card. So everybody, thanks a lot for showing up. We'll catch everybody tomorrow. Oh, Lou, where can everybody find you at? You have to unmute for that to work first.
My bad, dude.
That's okay.
Right now, the only thing, just go watch my old YouTube stuff. I mean, I have Twitter, but I've uninstalled it on my phone at this point, just because there's so much garbage on there. And let me tell you, removing Facebook and now I just pretty much removed Twitter has been one of the best things for me. Oh my god, it's been one of the.
I recently just deleted the TikTok app off my phone because I was just like, I'm not getting anything out of this. Like in terms of like the things I'm watching, it's just I'm not getting any. I'm going on there looking for comic book stuff and comic book people and things like that, right? And the ones that I'm finding are just not doing it for me. So whatever.
Dude, it is the weirdest shit because there was about a 48-hour period where I would catch myself just reaching for my phone to go to Twitter, and I'm like, I don't have this installed anymore. What am I doing? And I didn't even think about it. It was just almost instant. It's the weirdest shit.
Speaking of social media, follow Omnibros on Instagram. We are on Instagram. That's where I throw up all the stuff that we talk about. Links to the show, news articles, and things of the fun stuff like that is on our Instagram. And I'll say to everybody, I say it on there as well. Tag us in your hauls, tag us in your shelfies there, and I'll reshare them in our story. That's always fun to look at and stuff. So try to be more interactive there on the social media on Instagram, because on Instagram it's a lot more interesting and fun, and it's all about books as opposed to other things. So follow us on Instagram. I follow back if you're an account that's all about comic books and omnibuses. You know, I always follow back those accounts. If it's an account where you're on private, you know, I'm not going to request it. If you're private, obviously you want it private. Or if I look and it's all like food or random things, if it's not comic book related, I don't follow back. So, but yeah, we're all there. Follow us there, everybody. Have a great day and enjoy your Sunday, everybody. Peace.